Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today we have another episode on Project Rising Sun, and what we are going to be getting into is surfacing, sanding these panels. Um, Last time up, we got into laying fiberglass on the outside. That has now all been done. The exterior now has all the fiberglass laid on the outside, and the next step is going to be lay up fiberglass on the inside. But before we actually get into that stage, I had to clean up the outside here and get it ready for more fiberglass. And mainly the areas in concern here are around the round rod. And, I've talked about this numerous times about the round rod being fully encased in fiberglass. And the way that I had laid up the outside was basically to stop on the top edge of the fiberglass and not wrap around. And that was on purpose. What I want to do is fully feather this edge all the way around, anywhere there's round rod. And what I want to do is basically visually see that my fiberglass has a really nice good bond on that round rod. And the other thing that I'm doing is actually rounding, kind of bullnosing all these edges. Reason being, when I actually encase the outer edge in fiberglass, I'm going to have to add more material to do so. So to make it, not like a giant hump, I feathered all these edges back so that when I lay my additional fiberglass over these areas, it will blend fairly smooth, and I won't have a whole lot of stuff to sand off to make it blend properly. So we're going to get into sanding all these panels, and I have them all done at this point. And it's kind of an exciting point for me because it's the first time where I actually see these things start to take shape, mainly around the port here. And I've had a lot of people make comments about doing it this way with fiberglass. And yes, I know that there's 3D printers. I've been beat over the head about 3D printers at this point. But the reason that I still come back to this is there is depth and dimension here. You can hopefully you can see that I'm starting to build material thickness. And when you're looking at like these blades, for example, you can see it's substantially thick. Around the port here, it's substantially thick. When you talk about 3D printing something that's like maybe a 16th or an eighth inch thick, to produce that same look of, substantial thickness would be really difficult. So again, I understand that, there is technology out there that would make this stuff go faster. Sure. Um, will it provide the same, results? No. And that's kind of why I do it this way. So, I'm just kind of explaining that just because, like I said, I've been, hit over the head like 1,000 times about this at this point. Um, but yeah, so what we're going to get into in this episode today is sanding all this stuff out. Now, I'm just going to pick a piece. We've got some video for it. And I'm just going to do a little voiceover just to talk about it because you wouldn't hear me over the sander anyway. Uh, After we, see that video, we'll come back and we will talk about what we will get into next time. So at this point, let's get into that video.
Okay, so we are going to go through all the steps of what I did to prep these panels. And the first thing I did was to take every panel basically to my belt sander and clean up all the really nasty edges. I found this is just the fastest way to clean up fiberglass like this. Also, if you stand off to the side like this, you don't get pelted by all the debris coming off. So, it's kind of, I don't know, people think fiberglass is really heinous to work with, and it can be, but, if you work smart with it, it's not that bad. So from this angle, you can see what I'm doing is basically sanding all the way up to my round bar. And the round bar in itself is really nice because, it being metal, there's a little bit of forgiveness there. So if you do bump it, it's not like a major deal. So this is like a really, another really good benefit for using this round rod for me anyway. It's a really good gauge for cleaning up lines when you have excess fiberglass like this. So all I'm going to do is just, like I said, take it all the way down. I'm going to leave a little bit left so that I can take it down with a hand sander and then just final finesse the edge. So once I did the basically the wheel arch, I'm just going around to where the body panel actually splits. And again, I'm going to do the same thing, which is just walk that fiberglass that I want trimmed along my belt sander there and remove all the excess. Now you can kind of see also on that panel that the edge that I'm sanding to is also made up of fiberglass. A while back, I had sand or removed an eighth inch of foam and built up that entire edge with an eighth inch of fiberglass. So right now, the sand or the edge that I'm sanding on not only has the fiberglass, laid up over it, but it has an eighth inch of fiberglass, encasing that round rod right underneath it. So, basically you have an eighth inch of fiberglass in every direction right now encasing that round rod. So now here we go. I'm just going to the other side. And again, I'm just going to repeat the process and clean everything up. Again, it's really easy for me to see how to do it this way. And you could use like a file, you could use a palm sander, whatever you want. But if you have a belt sander like this, um, it just takes it down super quick. And like I said, it's just the easiest way for me. So now I'm taking my palm sander and I'm refining those edges that I was sanding on with the belt sander. Um, this is just kind of, getting that last little bit right down to that fiberglass edge that I created. The body panel splits, the edge there. It still needs to be refined after everything is body worked. I still have gapping that needs to be, tightened up, but the idea was to like encase that round rod. It would have been really difficult to wrap the fiberglass around it and create like a nice flat surface like this. So by laying up the fiberglass the way I did originally, now I can create this nice, flat surface to sand on, and it's just 100% fiberglass. So now what I'm starting to do is clean up some of the body edges. Now this section right here, I believe goes right around the door. Um, and a lot of these edges I still have to do refinement on, but that will be later down the road when I get closer to the bodywork stages. But there are a lot of like, I don't know, fine pieces of fiberglass that kind of want to splinter off and poke you, and it really sucks. So what I'm doing is just feathering everything back, and I kind of want to clean the edge up and just see what I have as far as material thickness and how it fits in relation to the body. So now I'm starting to surface the body panel split here, and I'm not really taking away a lot of fiberglass. And what I want to do is anywhere there's a split in the body panel, I want to make sure that I surface these areas out so that when I put the body panels together, I can see how they line up. I know that there's going to have to be additional fiberglass work done to the outside to fill in any kind of low spots. Um, and that's really kind of like from body to body or body panel to body panel. Feathering it like this and kind of getting it flat and smooth gives you a much better understanding of what the panel is doing where it's split. So now this is getting into a section of the round rod, and all the round rod I want to really feather back. And I said that in the intro that I want to visually be able to see the attachment of the fiberglass to the round rod. And I'm using 60 grit paper, and I will actually sand this edge down until I get, you'll see kind of a dull line, and where that dull line and shiny metal edge meets. That's kind of what I'm looking for. That visually signifies to me that I have a really good bond there, and it's, really smooth, no air pockets, no, air bubbles that have to be filled in, nothing that would potentially allow it to release from the metal. So that's just kind of one of those things when I'm working with fiberglass to metal, I'm trying to make sure that the bond is as good as possible. Um, this is just a different angle of cleaning up that edge. Again, having that round rod as kind of a gauge allows you to really refine a line very quickly and easily without fear of taking away too much material. It's kind of nice to have that extra bit of safety net, so you don't have to worry about taking too much material away and potentially having to fix or maybe even ruin a part. My palm sander, I'm really not applying much pressure. I'm allowing the sandpaper to really to do most of the work. Um, it's not really allowing it to freewheel, but it's definitely a very light touch. It just takes it away very quickly. Now, what I'm starting to do is bullnose and take away fiberglass from that round rod edge. That's the wheel arch there. And the idea here is that when I lay additional fiberglass over this round rod to fully encase it, I don't want to just leave, the layers of fiberglass that I've laid up here alone. I want to remove some of it so that when I add my additional fiberglass, it's not, like I said, a giant mound. So you can see here, I'm starting to take away that material and refine it. I want the fenders and the wheel arch in particular to look like a rolled fender. I do not want like a hard line. So I'm going to be going for like a really bull-nosed, round radius arch the whole way around. So this is kind of like laying the groundwork for that shaping also. And here's a good look at this panel after all the edges have been cleaned up. No, it was a little bit different for the sections with the ports. Again, I'm starting by cleaning up the blades, but because of the port and the tight areas, I'm not necessarily able to use power equipment everywhere. So I'm just starting off with my hand sander, and you can see as I work around the part how much material thickness I have actually built up. And overall, again, I'm going for that, 1/8 inch material thickness on top of the round rod and foam. So for the port area, I'm going to be using my mini belt sander. It's again very quick, like my large belt sander. It removes the fiberglass, extremely quick. Again, I'm using the round rod as kind of my gauge as far as how much material I want to be removing. And again, the whole idea here is just to clean all this round rod up and, visually see how good the bond is between the fiberglass and the round rod. I'm just going to speed up the video here so you can see what it took to shape the port. All right, so I went ahead and bullnosed and removed as much material everywhere I could with my sander, and now what I have to do is go back to the wing here and actually remove more by hand. I just couldn't get the sander in there anymore to remove the fiberglass the way I wanted to. So I'm just going to use a little wooden block here and some 60 grit paper, and I'm literally just working it by hand, and I'm just going to bullnose and remove as much fiberglass and get it prepped and ready to go. So I went ahead and hit the outside of the port here with my sander, and now what I'm doing is coming back with my block again, and I'm actually just going to continue to hand sand this and get everything leveled out and surfaced the way I want it to. You can see as I'm sanding the material thickness and how this port is actually starting to take shape. Again, this is kind of an exciting part for me because, up until now it's just been round rod and foam, but now with the addition of the fiberglass, starting to see these areas that I'm bullnosing, knowing that that is the overall look that I'm going to be going for in the end. It's really exciting because the depth and dimension is starting to take place, and the shapes are really starting to appear and look refined. And this is a really good look at everything once it was cleaned up. You can see, the wheel arch there looks nice and clean and smooth. The port is really nice and smoothed out now. You can see how it has that, kind of that three-dimensional look. It jets out from the body. The wing itself, you can see how that blends really nice to the bottom of the panel.
So that was a pretty good look at what it took, to surface out all these panels. And like I said, it was just really a matter of blending everything back to make sure that the fiberglass was on that round rod, really good. I wanted to take away enough material, like I said, to, add fiberglass on the outside again and make it, blend. So I didn't have to sand a whole lot to, smooth out the top surface. Uh, Next episode, we are actually going to be getting into laying up the inside. And this panel in particular, I've actually started that process. You can see now the inside here, I have some fiberglass, as well as the outside of the round rod. So at this point, this piece of round rod right here and all the round rod inside is fully encased in fiberglass. As you can see on this top edge right here, I've actually added that fiberglass and wrapped it around. It laid out pretty smooth. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but you can kind of see it just blended right back into the other section of fiberglass that I didn't really feather that much into. So, that was just a little trick right there to get this to flow nice and neat back into the panel that we already laid up. This is going to be a little bit of a process because I have multiple sections on some of these pieces that I'm going to have to do in different positions. This one in particular, I was able to lay just like this on my bench. I've been able to stuff fiberglass in, wet it out and wrap around the edge. I still have sections like right here that I will have to fiberglass. Those I will actually just kind of stand the panel up just like this, and I will do those at a later date and time. That'll actually fully encase these two little sections of round rod, and at that point, this piece will be ready for bodywork. So we're getting down to it. Things are really starting to look good. I'm really happy with the progress. Really excited to see, how the shaping of all this turns out, because I think, there's a lot of detail yet to add to the body in regards to shaping and blending some of these lines. So, that's kind of where we're going to leave it for today. Like always, if you have any questions about what I've done in this episode or previous episodes, please let me know. And I guess that's pretty much it for this one. So we will catch you next time.